All right, so today we're going to be breaking down a little bit of the strategy of what Cathie Wood is doing around Ethereum. And part of this will be giving you guys some insights as to maybe the direction that ARK is going to take. We'll break it all down for you today. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back into Tech Path. I want to start with a little bit of a direction of what and how she is holding Ethereum, but some of the projects she's in. And then we'll shift into, on the back half, a little bit more of maybe the future of where the direction is going. So make sure and stick around for both those sides. If you're not subscribed to the channel right now, make sure and subscribe right now. Just click that little subscribe bell. Make sure and hit that little bell so you'll get notifications of our live streams when we do those. All right, so I want to jump to this first story right here. ARK Invest and 21 shares jointly apply for both ETH and Bitcoin futures ETFs. So this is a good sign. Let me zoom in on this for you guys a little bit. Let's zoom in right there, maybe. Well, maybe not. All right, Cathie Wood's ARK Invest 21 shares jointly applied for two futures exchange-traded funds, products involving both ETH and Bitcoin. And you can also see that 21 shares activates or active Ethereum, which is going to be called ARK-Z. And then the 21 shares active Bitcoin Ethereum strategy will be ETF ARK-Y. So just so you kind of know where they're coming from. Other scenarios that will play into this, they're going to invest at least 25% in the Ether futures product relating to the ETH cryptocurrency, and then they're going to invest 25% in Ethereum itself. So there are some big strategy plans, I think, in place with what ARK is really put underway. And I think, as you know, we've covered this topic quite a bit on and around what Cathie Wood has been doing with Ethereum. This last little bit is talking about how they're shifting 21 share spot Bitcoin ETF application, and it was delayed on August 11th, which we reported on. And the next deadline for this now is really boiling down to either a rejection or a possible delay on applications from BlackRock, Van Eck, Wisdom Tree, etc. So we've got a lot of those coming in, and that date is set from September 1st to the September 4th. So there's a lot happening around that right there. All right, so I want to jump over to this next story. Hashkey is starting crypto retail trading service in Hong Kong. This is happening next Monday. Now, one of the things within the story here, you'll see, let me kind of zoom up on that. Now it's fixed there. All of this is set to start offering crypto trading services to retail clients starting August 28th. That's literally this week. So this is a big deal with Hong Kong literally doing Ethereum ETFs over the counter. So this is a potential boom for ETF in general. If you look at some of the news out there, this is a bit underreported, but more importantly, I think there's not really been an impact on the market. Now, granted, it's not going to be available for people in China, but it will be available for all of the Asian markets. So that's the question mark as to whether or not this will be a huge boon for Ethereum. So the exchange will commence its retail trading services for Bitcoin and ETH in the two largest cryptocurrencies in CERC, obviously. The other thing that is going to be playing into this is this statement right here. One of their officers said, basically in a bearish market environment, there could be higher risk trading, so-called altcoins. So we hope to offer tokens that come in with relatively low risks, meaning Bitcoin and ETH. So good for them. Hashkey also said that this could potentially bring in tens of millions of users who trade Hong Kong stocks on these platforms. Tens of millions. That is a huge number that could be entering the Asian markets. They don't allow Chinese mainland users to register. They do strictly prohibit users from Chinese IP addresses to register on the platform. My guess is there's probably a little bit of activity still coming out of China mainland through VPNs and etc. Another thing I want to jump to, and that is this topic right here, Ethereum staking continuing to rise. And that's another reason why we think that there's going to be continued pressure on Ethereum, possibly to drive the price. And this is the strategy I think that is starting to play out when you look at some of the projects, but we also look at some of the situations around staking. If you look at the article here, I want to kind of break down a few highlights here. Nearly 22% of the entire ETH supply has been staked. This is currently at press time, so around late August here. Exchanges see less and less Ethereum coming in. That's another factor. And then the Ethereum supply held on exchanges exceed 11%. This metric has undergone a substantial reduction in recent months. So if you think about staking and you look at the percentage of staking supply residing on exchanges right now, hovered around 8.5%, it basically delays the potential for the sale of ETH. So that means it kind of supports that price. But even if you look at ETHs leaving exchanges, that also kind of supports the price because people have to go back into the process of getting it back onto an exchange or into a wallet that they can sell from. So that is another reason why the continued supply shortage and also staking density is so important to ETH price position as a whole. I think there was one more thing. No, that was pretty much it on that one. The other thing I wanted to hit on was the IRS. They've also come into the game now. And of course, the concept behind this is they're sparing crypto miners and validators in their new broker reporting requirements. Now, what does this mean for the markets? U.S. Treasury Department released this big, highly anticipated regulatory alliance or guidance for cryptocurrency brokers. Notably, it's chosen to exempt individuals that are validators and miners, so this is good for Ethereum. Agencies also suggest that defining digital asset brokers as trading platforms, digital asset payment processors, certain digital asset hosted wallet providers, and persons who regularly often redeem their digital assets that were created and or issued by that person. Also, they go on to state here that individuals who only engage in distributed ledger validation, including miners and stakers, are exempt from broker requirements. So again, this is a big win for cryptocurrency as a whole, but I think obviously for anyone that is in this line of work. But really what this means is that it's going to continue to get easier and easier for brokers and miners to not necessarily have to go through all the regulatory requirements. So that's a big advantage. The other thing I want to jump over to is just Cathie's ARK. Just to give you a quick rundown here. This is the current 126 combined ARK investment ETF holdings. And you can kind of see a few of them. The big ones, of course, that you'll start to look at. Obviously, you see Coinbase there. But I want to kind of look at DraftKings a little bit because this one starts to show a little bit of interest. We'll go into that in a second. I want to jump also over to this right here. And this is getting into the strategy around maybe what ARK is up to. So ARK and A16Z all invested around $37 million into Mythical Games. And you've heard us talk about Mythical before, but here recently they were in the news because of their recent success on their NFL game, or their football game, I should say. That in itself, I think, is a pretty significant thing. Here's the breakdown. Crypto NFL game scores millions of downloads, full gameplay now going live. If you look at some of the points that they're hitting on, zoom in on that, the company is now unlocking full gameplay with football season right around the corner. Timing is perfect. Here we are, end of August, going into September, which is when the regular season starts for NFL. And you look at this right now, NFL Rivals was downloaded more than 2 million times and played over 15 million times. The metric could change as the NFL season starts to move. By far the most popular sport in the U.S. now getting ready to go underway. So timing is perfect for Mythical Games. Timing is perfect for the investment from ARK, and it also could be perfect for some other aspects that are all leaning into ETH-based projects and ETH-based activities. So if you think about what Mythical is doing, here's just here's the Rivals in-game marketplace. A couple of things. They're bringing the marketplace out to the market. This, of course, is going to be a phased release with multiple versions of the marketplace integrated coming out in the coming months. This will be big, I think, as it continues to roll out, because obviously just the tie-in to football season, and especially, it's kind of like if you think about Madden, which is one of the most popular games out there, it really gets a lot of its user base during the season. And of course, people I think might be going this direction now with Mythical. All right, so, there's one more thing here. I want to go over to this right here, back to that article. Seller is going to be compensated in corresponding amount of Myth tokens. So if you go over to the Mythos token, this is again an ERC20 mainnet token. Another option here. You've got one of the biggest games with one of the biggest sports happening at the right time, all of it riding on ERC20, Ethereum. So what does that mean, and what does it mean for the evolution of sports with a connection to Ethereum? So I want to go to a clip here, and this is a clip with Cathie Wood talking with some of the team at ESPN Bets, and how, remember, Penn just did a deal when they jettisoned Barstool Sports so they could get regulatory clarity with Disney's deal to do ESPN Bets. All of this is going to be huge. And of course, if you're talking about sports betting, you got to talk about Penn. So let's go over to this clip real quick. Listen in.
Yeah, so overall in the US sports betting, again, in that 5 years, we've kind of created almost a quadopoly of four major companies, of which even really two have a much larger share. So your big two are FanDuel and DraftKings, which combined have about 75-ish% market share. Does brand, the ESPN brand, translate to bettors. It has struggled with other media companies. And technology is one of those underappreciated, huge aspects of sports betting success. And look, like if I pull out my phone, if I pull out the ESPN, I'm looking at the ESPN app 5 times a day, just blindly, just seeing what's going on. I have no idea. I check ESPN.com every day. There's some background sports. There's something going on. ESPN for sports fans is so ingrained in our life here in the U.S.
I don't think the rollout is until November. And so we'll have to have you back on to talk about it maybe a month into the rollout, see how it plays out once we start getting that state level data.
All right, so just to note, those are the two crypto leads there at ARK. And you'll notice there on the subline, that's a $2 billion deal that Penn put together with ESPN Disney for licensing the name or the project for ESPN Bet. This could be bigger, maybe one of the biggest things that has evolved around the Ethereum ecosystem. What I mean by that, it doesn't mean that Ethereum is going to be jumping in on that, but the point is that a lot of this sports engagement, we think about DraftKings, their involvement with NFTs, all of this is starting to point toward Ethereum as an ecosystem. So a very big thing. Just jumping over to this topic right here, why your Paris 2024 Olympic NFT ticket could be the next big thing. This, of course, gets into really one of the biggest events on the planet and the idea of NFTs being integrated. So tickets to the Paris 2024 Olympics may be offered as NFTs. This is Michael Cadeau, one of the representatives, believes that blockchain technology is more secure than conventional ticketing techniques. We've talked about that on the show before, but the use of NFT tickets for the Paris 2024 Olympics was recommended. And now the French government's Olympic, he's the ambassador. So I think there's a potential that this could also play into this. And remember, when we see the evolution of this technology, we have seen so much advancements in a very short period of time, especially in the ETH ecosystem, but more importantly, especially when you look at Base and what's happening with Coinbase in general, the project flow, what we'll start to see in terms of NFT. There's also some very interesting things happening within NFTs that are going to change the dynamic use case and utility aspect. I'll get to that in a second. I want to go over to, of course, just a reminder, Trump hits Twitter again, and guess what he does? This is interesting. This guy's next level, for sure. I would agree with that one, but election interference, never surrender. Here's my point. Remember, Donald J. Trump put out an NFT program. Here recently, he was associated with an Ethereum holding, a fairly large Ethereum holding. Now, many people might look at that and say, well, maybe he's holding Ethereum, or is he just holding Ethereum because he had his NFTs and there was some relationship to that? If you go over to OpenSea, this is the thing. He drops on Twitter and what happens? I mean, literally, the bump occurs almost immediately. This is the kind of impact that this fella has on his own NFT platform, but more importantly, to about 80 to 100 million Americans. So that's a very interesting aspect. I'm still in awe of how he is able to do this. It just still blows me away. And he's really the only presidential candidate that's been able to kind of crack this code. There's got to be someone else out there that can be able to go into this market and do something in this zone as successful as what Trump has been able to do with this. All right, so one thing that lines up with this is, of course, this post right here. It says after we integrated with Build on Base in a singular, we have also now integrated with Upgrader. So the advantage here is it's going to be able to go into a lot of different networks and be able to integrate these old style NFTs and potentially make them a new version that would give them either one utility or other use case scenarios that play into it. So again, this is one of the things that has been the knock on NFTs is their simplistic nature and almost in many cases, lack of utility, which has been the real reason we've seen so much growth in the recent NFT standards that are implementing utility. That's the big difference here. So kudos to Remark. Interesting aspect of how they're tying into all of this. Just to give you an update on Base, you've got 61 million NFTs now minted, 3.5 million in revenue. So for the campaign, so again, pretty good in the short period of time in which all of this has been happening. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there are some things happening with Cathie and ARK, and I'm just going to point out a couple of things here. One, of course, is Shopify, another Ethereum play, and also Solana play when you think about what's happening here with ARK. Also look at just the number of holdings that they are holding that are either one crypto related or have potential direct connections to crypto. Obviously Coinbase, Shopify, DraftKings, you could really look at Robinhood in here as well. So a lot pointing in the right direction for ARK. The other thing I want to hit to is this right here. Coinbase is now adding a new cryptocurrency to its roadmap. Another big advantage for ETH. Guess what this is going to be? None other than the PayPal USD token, which is going to be their stablecoin. This is now on the roadmap to be added to the list. This, as a reminder, is an ERC 20 token, so an Ethereum token. If you guys are new to crypto, you're probably just now learning about Ethereum, and you hear this term ERC 20. This essentially tells you that it's an Ethereum-based token, whether it is something like, even USDC. If you compare stablecoins, USDC, PayPal stablecoin, now both ERC 20 tokens. Further into this, I want to get to a TechCrunch article here. This again was about Solana. We reported in this earlier in the week, but Solana Pay integrates plug-in with Shopify for USDC payments. That was the news, but there's a couple of items here that are interesting. And that is that the protocol will consider adding other cryptocurrencies like Sol and Bonk in the future. So that's a big deal. Shopify accounts for 10% of total US e-commerce, $444 billion worth of global economic activity. This is insanely large. So everybody should be looking at this and doubling down. I agree with that. I think this is a big factor. The other thing that plays into this with retail, which is huge, and I think this is going to play out in so many different retail sectors, including restaurants, but more importantly, especially in, you think, fast fashion, all those kind of things that live on the Shopify platform. Credit card processing fees cost a business between 1.5 and 3.5 per transaction. Now with Solana Pay option, it's practically free. That is significant. And that's a significant hit right now on MasterCard and Visa. So you can imagine that MasterCard and Visa are scrambling to be able to basically keep up with what's happening in the crypto sphere for sure. One other thing, just as a reminder, here's USDC quickly. If you look at USDC, which has been declining a little bit in terms of overall market cap compared to what's been happening on Tether, I'm still questioning as to whether or not these two stable coins are not being evacuated right now. Even if you look at Tether, slightly down here on the month, where is and are the stable coins going? They have to be going either into assets. I'm thinking Bitcoin and ETH are the two majors, but there could be some other projects that are starting to find their way into it. And I think Solana is going to be one of them for sure. Just to take a quick look at the charts, here of course is Ethereum playing out right now. We had a little bit of a dip and coming off that nice little rise there, but after Chair Powell's announcement today, with inflation most likely being much more sticky than what we anticipated, this could change a little bit of the dynamic over the next 30 to 60 days around both Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the general markets as well. So we're going to be watching that very closely. And we'll be covering, of course, Ethereum and everything that's happening out there, because I think there's a lot of strategies that are starting to show up of things that all these companies, very significant projects, are now in play. And it's going to play out, I think, in a very positive way for Ethereum. So if you guys are not in our Diamond Circle, make sure and jump in. It's a very easy thing to do. All you have to do is click the link down below. You can join. We do additional podcasts, additional TA over there. I drop in a couple of audio notes in a lot of our emails. All that is available over there. It's absolutely free. And of course, if you want to catch me, it's out there on Twitter or X @Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.